All right, welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive.
Definitely. Always up for a good deep dive.
Well, today we're diving right into the latest news on Shohei Ohtani. You know that heart-stopping moment in Game 2 of the World Series?
Oh, yeah. Had me on the edge of my seat.
Everyone was, right? I mean, this is Ohtani we're talking about. The guy hit 50 homers. A&D got 50 pitching wins in a single season.
Unbelievable. A true once-in-a-generation player.
Totally. So Game 2, bottom to 7th. Ohtani slides into second. Safe. But
He's grabbing his left shoulder. You can see the pain on his face.
yeah, definitely didn't look good. So was it just a tweak or something worse? We've got the ESPN reports here, so let's break it down and see what this means for Ohtani and, the Dodgers' chances.
Big implications for sure.
Huge. So
Yeah.
the ESPN report says Ohtani suffered a subluxation of his left shoulder during that slide.
Oof, yeah, a subluxation.
So for those of us who aren't doctors, what exactly does that mean?
Basically, think of it like a partial dislocation. The shoulder joint slips out of place but pops back in. It's not a full dislocation, but
But still not great.
definitely not. But the initial tests, checking strength and range of motion, those showed some positive results at least.
Well, that's good to hear.
And get this, he even flew to New York without a sling.
No way. That's kind of wild considering he hasn't missed a single game all season, right?
Right. I mean, he's played through some minor stuff before, but this,
He seems different, yeah.
it's a whole other level, definitely. But we're still waiting on a couple things. There's the MRI and a follow-up workout. Those will really tell us the whole story.
About how severe it is and all that.
Yeah, and ultimately, if he can even play in Game 3.
So Dodgers manager Dave Roberts,
Yeah.
he seems pretty optimistic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he said he expects Ohtani to be in the lineup for Game 3, but
But there's a but.
there's always a but, right? He also said Ohtani might be playing through some discomfort.
Well, I mean, you got to admire these athletes, their grit, they want to play no matter what.
Absolutely.
But it's that fine line, playing through pain versus risking something more serious down the road.
Yeah, got to think long term, too.
Exactly. It's a tough decision for everyone involved, balancing those immediate goals with the potential consequences.
So it sounds like Roberts is putting a lot of faith in Ohtani, basically saying if he feels good enough to play, they'll let him play.
Which, given Ohtani's track record,
Makes sense. He knows
Yeah.
his body.
Yeah, absolutely. But you got to imagine the pressure he's under, right? World Series, championship on the line. He's a key player.
It's a lot to handle.
It really is. It's got to be tough to balance all that with what's truly best for his body in the long run.
No doubt. And one crucial detail ESPN pointed out, the injuries to his back shoulder, not his throwing shoulder.
Huge for his hitting.
Huge. Roberts even mentioned that this kind of injury is less of a problem for a lefty hitter like Ohtani.
Yeah. Good news for his hitting, for sure. Even if he's not 100%, just Ohtani being in the lineup,
It's a factor, right?
it's a huge E factor. It's psychological. Pitchers, they approach at-bats differently when they're facing a power hitter like Ohtani.
Oh, interesting. So even if his swing isn't perfect, just having him there changes things.
Absolutely. They avoid the strike zone more, throw more balls, which creates opportunities for everyone else in the Dodgers lineup.
Wow, never thought about it like that.
Yep, it's a chain reaction. But, got to consider the other side of the coin. What if you can't play at all?
Things get tricky then.
Very tricky.
Well, ESPN did lay out the Dodgers' backup plan if that happens. Freeman would move to DH, Muncy to first, Hernandez to third, Cages to center, and Betts would then take the leadoff spot.
Okay, so shifting things around quite a bit.
Big time.
Solid lineup for sure, but it's definitely a different offensive approach without Ohtani in there.
Totally changes the dynamics.
Yeah, impacts every single player on the team.
So bringing it all back, what are the key takeaways from this deep dive so far?
Well, we're still in wait-and-see mode, right? Waiting on that MRI, waiting on the follow-up workout, and that'll determine if Ohtani can play.
Okay. And we all know how tough Ohtani is. We've seen him play through stuff before.
Oh, absolutely. His resilience is incredible. But we also have to be realistic about this injury. It's significant, and playing through it could have consequences down the line.
Right. A lot to think about.
A lot to think about. And ultimately, whether he plays or not has a massive impact on Game 3, the Dodgers' strategy, maybe even the whole series. It's a huge decision. I mean, not just for the World Series, but for his career,
Yeah, it really makes you think. We see these guys, these athletes, and it's easy to forget they're human.
Right. Like they're superhuman or something.
Totally. But they have limits. They feel pain just like us.
Exactly. And Ohtani's case, it's especially interesting because he's not just a hitter or a pitcher.
He's both and elite at both.
That's got to put a ton of strain on his body,
Yeah.
and this injury.
It kind of highlights the risks.
Big time. I mean, it's almost like he's playing two sports at once.
Right. And that makes you wonder,
Yeah.
could this kind of thing be more common for someone like Ohtani?
Yeah.
Because he's pushing the limits constantly.
It's a good question. The body can only handle so much, and at his level,
The demands are insane.
they really are. It speaks to his talent, his dedication, for sure, but
But it also makes you worry about the long term.
it does. It's like the double-edged sword of being that good. Expectations are through the roof, the pressure must be,
Immense.
and it comes from everywhere. The fans, the media, the team, even himself, probably.
Oh, definitely. Ohtani seems driven to succeed, to push himself.
It's part of what makes him so exciting to watch,
But it also makes you worry he might push too far. What if there's lasting damage?
That's always the risk. And it's not just physical either, it's mental and emotional too. That kind of pressure.
It takes a toll.
It does. It's so important for these guys to have a good support system.
Well, speaking of support, the Dodgers do have a pretty amazing medical team, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Top notch.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it's their call on whether he plays.
Right, they're the experts.
They are. And they're considering everything, not just the injury itself, but Ohtani's pain tolerance, his overall health.
The demands of the World Series.
All of it. It's not a simple decision.
No, it's not. They have to balance wanting to win now with his long-term health.
It's a lot of responsibility.
It really is.
Yeah.
It reminds you that there's a whole team behind these athletes, keeping them healthy, helping them perform.
It's easy to forget that, right? We focus on the guys on the field.
We do. But there's this whole support system working behind the scenes.
It's a big collaborative effort, and when there's an injury, a tough decision like this.
That collaboration becomes even more important.
Absolutely.
So we're waiting to see what the medical team says, what Ohtani decides.
Hmm?
But let's shift gears a bit.
Okay.
What if Ohtani can't play? We talked about the backup plan, but what does this do to the Dodgers' overall strategy?
It's a whole new ball game, honestly. I mean, Ohtani isn't just a power hitter.
He's strategic too.
Exactly. Teams have to plan for him on the mound, A&D at the plate. It changes how they approach the game completely.
So losing him,
Throws a wrench in everything.
big time.
The lineup, the pitching, the defense, everything has to adjust. Plus, now there's pressure on everyone else to pick up the slack.
It's a domino effect. One change leads to another and another.
And that's where the coaching staff earns their money.
Right. Gotta adapt fast.
Come up with a new plan, keep everyone focused, motivated.
And they have to do all that while dealing with the uncertainty of Ohtani's status.
That's a lot, even for a team like the Dodgers.
It really is. And it highlights the mental game,
Yeah.
How do you stay focused when things go sideways?
How do you handle the unexpected?
How do you stay positive when you might be losing your star player?
It's a test of their resilience, for sure. Shows the strength of the team as a whole.
So while we wait for news on Ohtani, the Dodgers are already dealing with a whole new set of challenges. On the field, off the field.
Yeah, it's a reminder that in baseball and life, I guess, things don't always go as planned.
Never do.
But sometimes those unexpected twists,
That's what makes it interesting.
that's what makes it compelling, being able to adapt, to overcome those obstacles.
That's what separates the good teams from the great ones.
And it's what makes the World Series so captivating. High stakes, intense pressure.
Anything can happen.
And even if Ohtani can't play, his impact on this series,
Let's deny him.
he's already made history, inspired so many people.
Push the boundaries of what's possible in the sport?
He's a game changer, that's for sure. And his story isn't over yet.
No, not at all.
This is just one chapter.
But for now,
Yeah.
we're left with this question. What do the Dodgers do without him? How do they adapt? How do they overcome this?
Only time will tell. But one thing's certain.
What's that?
The Dodgers are a force to be reckoned with. They won't go down without a fight.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, we want to leave you with this. What do you think is going through the minds of the Dodgers players, the coaches right now? How do they prepare for this?
It's a fascinating puzzle, and one we'll keep exploring in the next part of our deep dive.
It really is wild how one injury can have such a ripple effect on the whole team. Not just the strategy, but the mental side of things too.
It shows you how important Ohtani is. He's not just a player. He's like
Symbol.
Yeah, a symbol of excellence, pushing boundaries. So even the possibility of him not playing,
It creates a void.
a huge void for the whole organization.
So how does a team like the Dodgers even prepare for something like this? I mean, they've got such a strong history, a winning culture
It starts at the top, you know?
with the manager, the coaches.
Exactly. They set the tone, they keep everyone focused on what they can control, remind them about the team's depth, their resilience.
That they've faced challenges before and come out stronger.
That's it. And it's about that feeling of unity, you know? Everyone steps up, contributes, knowing that the team's success depends on everyone.
Turning this whole thing into a source of motivation.
Like a rallying cry, yeah. And that's what championship teams do. They find strength in adversity. And the Dodgers, they've done it before. They've got the players, the coaches, the whole culture is about resilience.
We've talked a lot about the strategy, the psychology, but what about the fans? How are they taking all this?
The fans are the heart of it all, right? They're invested, they ride the waves with the team.
And with Ohtani, it's not just Dodgers fans.
Oh, he's global. People everywhere are following the story.
So I bet there's a lot of worry, a lot of hope.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Everyone wants what's best for him, but they also want to see him play, you know? It's tough.
And then there's the World Series itself. This is it, the biggest stage. And Ohtani adds this whole other level of
Excitement.
intrigue. Yeah.
You're right. It goes beyond just the game, his skills, his story.
It adds to the whole drama.
The world's watching, waiting to see what happens.
It's like a movie, you know?
It is. But no matter what happens, Ohtani's story,
It's already legendary.
he's changed the game, inspired so many people.
And that's what makes this deep dive so interesting. It's not just about analyzing the injury or who wins the game.
It's about the human element.
The resilience, the passion, all the things that make sports so powerful.
You got it. It's those moments that stick with you, those stories that stay long after the game is over.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Ohtani and the World Series, we want to leave you with this. What makes a sporting moment truly unforgettable? Is it about winning? About breaking records? Or is it something deeper? Something about our shared humanity, our ability to overcome, We'll leave you with that to think about as we wait for the next chapter in this story. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, and we'll see you next time for another exploration into the world around us.